It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
This next question, Brian, this is from This is from another Cam. We have two Cams today, though.
You
awesome.
sure Cam's not doubling up
Maybe
on the
this
questions?
is another question from Cam. Maybe I got two Cam questions. Here we go. This is an investment question. When dollar cost averaging, is there a schedule that the guys prefer to others, investing weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc.? And then is there a better time than others to invest, right? So there's been some extensive research done on this, Brian. I think it'd be helpful for us to talk a little bit about that. I think we can also share some like anecdotal evidence and maybe a little bit about what we each do, because I think we both do something different. I will tell you this, though. When it comes to investing, and I always stand by this, the absolute best time to invest or to start investing will have been yesterday, which makes the second best time to start investing today. So if you're not investing, you're not doing anything, you need to start getting those soldiers into the army. You need to start getting your players onto the field. Well, then comes the question, tactically, if I'm going to be a saver, if I'm going to be a financial mutant, are there some strategies that are better than others? Are there some better ways than others for me to think about doing it?
Yeah, so Cam, I'll first, I feel like we need some context because you always hear the debate of lump sum versus dollar cost averaging. Because it's easy to see lump sum is better from a history standpoint because 8 out of 10 years or 80% of the time markets make money. Well, if you have such a big lopsidedness of optimism and positive of 8 out of 10 years you're going to make money, without a doubt, it's better to be a lump sum investor. But there's a huge glaring risk with this strategy because remember, it's not always about maximizing. It's also about preservation as well. And I always get nervous on large payments. I'm talking about material things that would impact your long-term financial life. You know, it's scary if you say you sold a piece of land, you sold a business, or you just inherited $1 million or $2 million, you know, whatever materiality is for you. Maybe it's $100,000 or $500,000. It depends on really what your net worth is. But if this is life-changing money, how sick would you be? Because right now the markets are down 15, 17% for the year right now. What if you put that money in a month and a half ago and you watched 17% of it just basically evaporate?
You'd be sick.
Now, look, and we're long-term. We're optimistic this thing's going to turn around. But if you can mitigate those risks, you want to, because when I give that stat of 8 out of 10 years it goes up, that does mean that 2 out of the 10, you're like, oh man, that would kind of stink if I lost. Especially, let's take like a year like 2008. The S&P 500 lost 37% that year. How would you feel if 40% of the money just evaporated because you got unlucky that 2 out of 10 years happened to be the year you put in? And that's why when we look at the Vanguard stats and other things, this long-term difference between the results was only like 2% or something. To 3%. Because there is a better way to do this. This is what I always tell people, even if you're doing dollar cost averaging, there's been a lot of research on this. As long as your implementation strategy is less than 12 months, we typically like to do like a 10 to 12 month on a large sum of money. If it's a much smaller sum, maybe you do it over a 3 to 6 month period. You can figure out what your time frame, but overall, you don't really want extending beyond a year, because the longer your window is, the more your risk is that you're missing the upside of the markets. So now that's the lump sum versus dollar cost averaging. So now this next question is, okay, how do you do dollar cost averaging well? Well, the biggest part, be consistent.
That's right.
No matter what's going on, it's just always be buying. I mean, so that's the big thing. So if you're a quarterly buyer, it's great that every 3 months that it's automatically buying. If you're a monthly buyer, it's great that once a month. Now, I will tell you there's a sickness to this, because this is the part about being a financial mutant, and I'm just going to be confessional about this, is that I am the type of person that I love there is a part, because your assets get bigger and you hate the volatility, even though I'm exactly like Bo. I don't look at my account every day because I don't want to see, especially when we're in these down periods of volatility, I don't want to see what my assets are losing. But I like if I can create behaviors that actually enforce the financial mutant side of me, where I actually look for the lemonade of a lemon situation. And for me, what that has turned out to be is, I actually dollar cost average. This is a sickness. This is not what I'm telling you guys to do, but this is just because I'm a financial mutant and I like to do it. I actually buy every week. I mean, does that not sound sick? I mean,
It sounds
that's kind of
ridiculous.
Every week I have a chunk going in because I just like the process. So that way, if markets are up, I'm like, hey, my overall investment assets are going up. If markets are getting beat up, I'm like, it's okay because I know tomorrow that weekly investment is going to kick in and I'm going to get those lower prices. It's completely ridiculous. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with a quarterly purchase. There's nothing wrong with a monthly because I love the strategies because I told you lump sum versus dollar cost average is one thing, but there's a lot of things just like your monthly pay. I love you creating that, forced scarcity savings. You've budgeted in your savings, so you're paying yourself first. That's the behavior. That automation of your wealth creation is going to drive you lots of success in the long term. If you're just buying, always be buying through no matter what's going on, and you can choose the right time frame.
Yeah, I think you said it best, Brian. Consistency is the key. So, you're talking about how you're saving with earned capital money you're putting in. If you're asking about how should I invest a lump sum I just received, whether it was a bonus or whether it was a business sale or whatever, or a capital transaction, I think consistency is key. Whatever you do, stick to that plan. So if I'm going to do it over 10 months, I'm going to do it monthly. What I think is beautiful for most of us, the way it naturally happens, is like if we're at a job and we have a 401k, we're kind of naturally dollar cost averaging whenever payroll hits, right? So whether it's biweekly or weekly or monthly, that's already happening. And then, if you're someone who's doing Roth IRAs, maybe you're saving that every month, or maybe you're close to the income limit. So you're doing an annual dollar cost averaging of your Roth. You know that in February of every year, you're going to review your income and you're going to dump those in. And then maybe you're putting money into your HSA and you're not doing it via pay. And then you're putting some money in your taxable account. You may be surprised that even though you're doing it monthly, when you actually look at the days of the month that it hits, you might be a financial mutant like Brian that actually ends up doing it weekly. Just because you have money going in all of these different pots, I think that's okay. The key is be consistent. My heart breaks when I get this email from a client.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get them saving and we'll show them, their portfolio path and have them so juiced about what their portfolio is going to turn into. And then the markets do what they're doing now and I get the email, hey guys, I think we need to put a pause. Let's put a pause on it. And I always immediately pick up the phone. And I'm like, hey, it's your money. It's your plan. I'll do whatever you want me to do. But man, this right here is the Super Bowl. This is the time when you want to be dollar cost averaging because this is when you actually get to glean the benefit from that. So if you can put a system in place that allows you to stay the course, no matter what the market does, whether it's down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, but you can consistently be throwing dollars at it, your future self will be so happy that you did it. So do it on whatever schedule and regularity that will allow you to stay the course and get excited that you're putting more money to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, dollar cost averaging, a monthly buy or quarterly or whatever schedule you're on is one of the best hedges to volatility of the market.
Yep.
That's why same way. If anybody tells me, no, your behavior actually should shift. Remember, I think it's important to share. I am on the path to paying off my mortgage by the time I'm 50. However, when we hit the pandemic, and I'm also getting that itch right now, that I actually figure out, hey, what the heck are you doing? Let's not prepay that low interest mortgage right now. Let's go get excited and opportunistic while the market's getting down. I'm actually looking for ways to increase to take advantage of that volatility hedge. I would encourage you to look at the way you're thinking about your money as well, because you can turn a lemon situation into lemonade if you have the right mentality.
Love it.